Hello fellow citizens, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Elfie, just a girly pop trying to explore everywhere in the verse. And today, I finally got back to Dunboro and Microtech to go watch the Starset from the highest place on the planet with a few close friends of mine. So, let's get into it. I started off the day to meet my friends in New Babbage. Fun fact, New Babbage is where this exploration journey all started, a couple months ago. And it's still the place that I really enjoy coming back to. And just because I did an exploration on it does not mean that I know my way around. It wasn't even until a couple months later that I actually found Factory Line, which is like the Apple store, and pretty cool to check out. And one of my favorite places is here in the Commons because it seems pretty lively but peaceful at the same time, and they have a lot of different options for sandwiches. And back then, I walked through this tunnel during a snowstorm thinking it was the coolest thing ever, but this was pretty nice walking with the sun setting. And of course we can't forget the promenade. It's absolutely so cool to see this place at night when it's all lit up, and there's a bunch of different places to go clubbing. It's also home to Apparelli, which is one of my favorite clothing stores in the verse. I had to stop in here to get a nice winter coat and a warm outfit for our exploration today. And why not get the very first outfit that I purchased in my exploration videos? I got this maroon jacket, these matching boots, and these green pants. But the only thing we were missing was a t-shirt for underneath the jacket. While Apparelli is a very nice clothing store, we actually had to take the train to the Aspire Grand in order to find the shirt that I was looking for from my first video. In between train stops, I ended up running into these two goobers who were just taunting each other with emotes. And I will say, I usually get a little nervous with a couple people who I don't know on the train with me, but they were probably more interested in each other than they were with bothering me. And like I said, absolute goobers. I'm not sure if they were new, lost, or both, but they ended up getting off here at the Expo Center, so I'm not sure what they were doing. And I don't think they did either. Once I finally got my Microtech t-shirt to rep the planet, I ended up putting up the rest of my clothes and getting ready for the best adventure ever with some great friends of mine. We met up because I was lost trying to find the external pads, and they also had the best outfits on ever. We ended up getting picked up by our great friend Lily in her fancy schmancy 400i. Unlike us, she actually dressed appropriately for super cold weather. And while it was extremely sunny and a really nice day actually taking off from New Babbage, there would be only a few minutes before we ended up seeing the most epic Starset. Although it's only my second trip over here, I would say that flying into these outposts on the other side of Microtech are absolutely gorgeous. Between the forests in the distance, the rivers, the lakes, and just the openness. I love it. And while I did like Astor's Clearing and do want to go back to explore the forest at some point a little bit more, I wanted to see Dunboro again, and like I said in my last exploration here, I wanted to see the Starset at the top of that big structure. And even though I debated using one of Lily's many winter outfits that had better specs than what I was wearing, I decided to stick with it because I figured how cold could it really be? Well, my body temperature started dropping immediately right after I left the ship. But if I end up walking in third person, that means that the warnings will go away, right? And we had to stop, of course, to take the most epic picture in front of the mountains. The very first place that I stopped back at was the bar, because of course I had to go buy a beer for the top of the structure once we were up there. And on this day, I feel like my pyro vibes were coming out of me because I went with room temperature instead of the ice buckets. And as I continued freezing away just exploring the area before we had to climb up, I wanted to see if the fire would help. Newsflash, it doesn't. And I feel like this really should be a feature where the fire can warm you up if you're close enough to it. And while I really do love the big group explorations that I do with the org every other week, I really feel like I needed just this night. A small group of friends, last minute deciding to go exploring. There's a lot of shittiness in the world. And there's also a lot going on in my personal life. I'm super busy with a full-time job, going to school, trying to edit videos, and then also running org events. It definitely was the break that I needed. I always love just looking at the small details and really remembering what kind of love was put into this game. And of course, the smiling little pumpkin that's hidden in a corner always cheers me up, because why is this here? And for reference, this was filmed around 2 weeks before 4.6 was released when I started to feel a little bit of burnout from the game itself. There were a lot of issues towards the end of the patch, and for example, when you're trying to run an org event where you need 20 different sets of armors in a box, it's really hard to put those armors in the box when you can't open the box in your inventory. And then we had another really great Hathor event and a Stormbreaker event planned, but a lot of the inventory issues kind of ruined them. We were able to kind of work our way through Hathor, but imagine trying to do things like Hathor and Stormbreaker without your inventory. You can't open it up to eat and drink, you can't open up any boxes to actually grab the utility things that you need for the mission, and it was overall just a mess. Those are all the days where you just want to turn it off and play something else, but what do you do when you gathered 25 people to go do something and it doesn't work? And that's one thing that I really love about the group in general. Everyone's really chill. When there are issues, no one really crashes out or rages at it. We all just kind of come up with a workaround and have fun regardless, which is kind of the point to me. I was never much of a solo gamer and don't really enjoy doing it still, but having a great group of people to play with always makes it a little bit easier when you run into a lot of bugs like that. And something like these exploration missions are something that I'm really happy that I kind of made up or discovered, however you want to look at it, because there's always something to do, whether there's something broken in the game or not. As long as you can get out of your hangar, the world is kind of at your hands. And it's ironic, because I was always the type of person who would max min a game like Stardew that's supposed to be super cozy, but Star Citizen has really become my cozy game. I really like that you can kind of do whatever you want. There's combat missions for people who want to do PvP or PvE. There's people who just want to go out and move cargo boxes or go mining and shoot at rocks all day. But then there's the people like us, who are willing to put all of the mission rep grinding and AUEC grinding down, especially in an economy where it doesn't really matter, to really just explore and watch the stars set like it's real life. And on adventures like this, it makes me so incredibly grateful how many people I've found from just creating these videos and creating this community of people who are just super welcoming and down to do whatever. And I never thought that I would meet people like me who are just down to walk around and do absolutely nothing for no gain, other than to just spend time with each other and enjoy what's in front of you. I've learned throughout all of these explorations that you'll never really get these moments again. They're all going to be slightly different with different groups and different people, but the conversations and the memories that you're making along the way are pretty genuine, and that's what Star Citizen is to me. Connection. As corny as it is, these nights really remind me that between work and homework and editing and all of the other things that I have going on, I really do need to take some time for myself and just enjoy the people around me. And one of those people asked me a surprisingly difficult question the other day. Elfie, why do you make videos? And I would say that it was surprisingly difficult, not because I didn't know the answer, but because the answer had changed from when I started making videos 7 months ago. Back then, the answer would have probably been something along the lines of, I love video editing, I'm trying to learn new techniques, and I really just want to show people the beginner player's perspective so that I can learn a thing or two from them. And somewhere along the way, all of that kind of stagnated. In video editing, I was trying to learn a new technique every video, but then that really stalled when I found my style. The focus became less on the game itself, but more about storytelling and what is really happening in Elfie's world in the game. And also, I'm probably not really a new player at this point. Sure, there are people who have had the game for 8 more years than me, but let's be real, a lot of people have played on and off, and even people who have taken the last couple of patches off probably don't know as much about the game anymore because it's constantly changing so much with every update. And as for my answer now, I would say it's a little bit more complex than that. I have my videos that do the absolute worst statistics-wise, but they're my favorite to make actually, and those are the cargo videos. Because I absolutely adore the time that I spent with my friend Lily, because I've never met anyone else who is able to just sit down, accept 13 missions, and plan out the route with all sorts of different diagrams and notepads and maps. It's a special kind of activity that I really think isn't for everyone, and so I acknowledge that, but it's something that I'm going to continue to do because I really just enjoy it. And then there's the different exploration videos and more storytelling focused videos that do statistically well, and I enjoy making them, but for different reasons. In a lot of those videos, and including this one, I definitely like to talk a lot, but through opening up a lot about my personal life in a deeply genuine way, I've met so many amazing people with different perspectives, and that's really something that I wanted to gain from these videos overall. I love the people who join the Orgs Discord to come and play, and absolutely enjoy walking around and moving boxes and all of the other activities we get up to. But I also love reading the comments from people more than anything, of those who stayed till the end of the video even though I didn't think anyone would care to listen. And it always surprises me the amount of comments that are both about the game and not about the game. There's a ton of people who click on the video seeing a pretty Star Citizen picture thinking that they're gonna see this great exploration, which they do. But then they realize somewhere along the way that they're able to relate to this random 20-something-year-old girl who's making a Star Citizen video. We may not know anything about each other other than the 10 to 20 minute monologue that I give you, but on some level, there's someone out there in the world that you can relate to. And whether it's sitting in silence, slinging boxes across someone's ship and hangar, or going on an excursion and talking for 2 hours straight about life and getting to know each other, I think that this is the perfect game for that environment. And as the game develops, I'm seeing more areas like crafting and base building and just so much complexity that really just pushes people together to find each other. And right now, my videos just seem like the perfect way for me to kind of add to that and just connect people. Whether it's someone who's had the game for years and hasn't played but has been considering coming back, or someone who maybe is thinking of quitting the game but wants to find a community to give it one last shot and try it with other people. And somewhere between the lines of enjoyment and connecting others, there's a third reason that I make these videos. Whether the data tells me that it's my most viewed or my least viewed video doesn't really matter. The point is, at least one person will watch till the end, and then they get the messages that I try to get across in some of these videos. And for this one, I think it's a little bit more complex. And it's because humans have complex emotions. Almost everyone out there needs some form of human connection, whether it's online or in the real world. But through video games, I've found connections with so many people, and I'll continue to do it with as many people that want to connect with me and learn about each other. And you belong, whether it's in an org through Star Citizen, whether it's with a small group of friends that you find, or even outside of Star Citizen. Everyone needs some form of community, and one of the things that I've learned in my 20s after I was out of college and no longer lived in the same space as a bunch of my friends, I realized that it's incredibly difficult to find those communities. And so if you're still watching, tell me in the comments how you found your group of friends, whether it's in Star Citizen or another game, or even if you didn't have a best friend coming out of high school or college that kind of stuck with you into adulthood. How did you make friends later on in adulthood? For me, I'm about to show you why adult friendships are pretty freaking cool. After we were done being all soppy and chatting away into the night, we had to climb down from this structure, but it definitely wasn't without a few injuries. And to be fair, maybe all but Lily's body temperatures probably contributed to that, but it was okay because I ran into the closest building and grabbed the beer that I completely forgot about and drank it. At this point, it was probably ice cold. And now, I'm probably not into the role-playing area of the game, but I would say that it was pretty nice to pretend to go into the bar and have a nice beer after a night out like this with your friends. And one beer turned into many beers when we realized that there were two things. We wanted to see how drunk we could get, and we also realized we could toss them into this bucket. At some point, it didn't even matter if we were grabbing them off of the shelf or the ice bucket. We just wanted to drink beer, get messed up, and toss as many in that bucket as we could. Sometimes I accidentally picked up the soda, but there was no time for that because we were only here for the beer. And Lily didn't seem to be much of a drinker herself, and so she sat and watched the degeneracy. And today was the day that I learned once you get above a 75% drug level, it starts to turn red, and then you actually start to feel different effects as if you were actually drunk. It was very subtle at first when I was trying to throw the bottle, and I kept wavering back and forth. When I went into third person, I realized that I was stumbling around like a lot of the NPCs around the pyro stations, and all of a sudden, it just made a lot more sense that they're either drunk or on drugs. I didn't think that it would be as trippy as it was, but it actually is trying to move forward because your character would start going left and right when you're trying to move forward, and this is what it looked like in first person and in third person. I'm pretty sure that we were all just laughing our asses off, and what made it even better was I was still carrying a beer bottle in my hand throughout this whole journey back to the ship. But we honestly didn't think that this was where the journey was gonna end. We wanted to go explore the forest of Astor's Clearing at night to see what was out there. I was trying to function, but couldn't exactly get to the box, and it was quite challenging actually. I did eventually get in so that I could pick out a new outfit to go walk around in the cold and make sure that my body temperature didn't drop below 30 degrees again. I was all geared up, ready to go, and my friends couldn't possibly lose me when I was in this outfit. Unfortunately, I ended up falling out of the ship a few minutes later, but maybe it was for the best that I ended up waking up in the hospital. It may or may not have been my fault that I fell out of the ship anyway, because I was playing around with the escape pods while Lily was trying to take off, but she didn't need to know that. If you're looking to try out a different Star Citizen community, be sure to check out the links in the description down below. If you like videos like this where you get to explore the verse through a different set of eyes, be sure to like and subscribe to support the channel. I post new videos every week, and I hope to see you next time. Until then, Elfie out.